Welcome to the High School Football Live Show. Top Dog, Chris Smith, I'm Braden Surprenant. Live on remote here at Public House 131 in Scripps Ranch.
131
is the focus of today's High School Football Live Show. We got some great guests from Scripps Ranch High School joining us after a big win last week against La Jolla. So
big win.
And it also helps out that it's in my neighborhood. It's a nice little easy little get to for me. Hey, you know what?
It was like a 45-mile drive for me to get up here,
you know,
dude.
I had to drive down to meet you the last 2 times, so now you got to come up and say hi to some people north of the 52.
That's fair. But
so,
you know there's a bounty on me up here, right? Anywhere in North County, they don't like me up here.
I mean, the thing is we're willing to go on the road. So, you know, if you want to have us, we'll
Look at this
show
backdrop.
It's great.
Look at this backdrop. By the way, I don't know if you guys peek over to that TV over there. Ohio State's playing. Shout out to CO2. I had to give it to him, man.
He scored right before when I was driving over here.
See?
Chris Olave. It's good to see San Diego
Hometown
kids.
boy.
You know, a couple shout outs. I know Jake Burton of Granite Hills made the practice squad for the New York Giants. My guy Casey Toohill making the Washington football team on defensive line.
Did you see the defensive end that came from Point Loma who just signed with the Chicago Bears?
I didn't see that.
That's Caleb Johnson. He just signed with the Chicago Bears as defensive end.
We have a Helix kid that made the Bengals, correct?
Wait, a Helix kid?
Right.
How about my center fielder in Little League? That's Jalen, baby.
Then why didn't you throw his name out earlier?
Well, you know.
We got a lot of San Diego High School football kids. Guys. You know, obviously the same that we know that are already on NFL teams, but it's good to see. And
okay, I want to
see Chris Olave on a Thursday night.
Quiz you real quick. How many guys you think on active NFL rosters right now came from San Diego area?
Oh, man. Active? I mean, do you know it off the top of your head?
I do.
Over under 20?
Over.
30?
26 guys.
26?
26 players in the NFL came from San Diego, right here in our
That's enough to fill the San Diego Padres. We got a great show planned. Marlon Gardinera, Jax Leatherwood, Jalen Shaw joining the show. We're going to talk some Scripps Ranch High School football. They're 2-0 right now after 2 big wins. Looking to continue that. They got a good game against San Diego High coming up tomorrow night. So we'll break down. They're both 2-0.
Good game.
Hey, you want the spread on that?
We'll get to the spread later.
You want the spread on that?
Come on, we'll get to the spread later.
It's the same spread that Scripps Ranch was dogs against La Jolla for. So you never know.
You never know?
You never know. So let's talk a little bit about last week. By the way, we did not do well pick-wise.
What do you mean we didn't do well?
We went 6-3, 6-3, 5-4. We're better than that.
Okay.
We're better than
there
that.
There were a couple games that, you know.
Some games kind of surprised us with the spread. The other thing, too, like, I know some football accounts out there, high school football accounts out there, will puff out their chest. We had all the games right. You know, we went 14-2. We pick against the spread.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a little harder.
It's more difficult. We're more savvy like that. But
so we challenge you guys. You guys out there just picking wins, pick the spread.
Do we have a celebrity guest picker tonight?
We don't.
We don't.
Not tonight.
I can get John Lancey over there to be the celebrity guest picker.
You can?
Probably. He'll have no idea what he's picking, but he might be able to do it.
Let's do it. I'm down.
I might be able to get John to come on here. Scripps Ranch people know who he's at. He's one of the mayors of Scripps Ranch, if you will.
Well, then
or maybe Marlon can do it. He'll just not pick his game.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll talk about that.
I don't want coaches to get mad at him, so you know.
So we got some games last week. Mount Carmel beat Patrick Henry, 28-21. You and John were on that. I thought Henry was going to be able to get it done. 7-point victory for Drew Westling and the Mount Carmel Sun Devils. Poway Titans upsetting the Eastlake Titans. I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah. Coach Lynn called me.
Low-scoring game.
Coach Lynn called me. They've got some offensive. Thank you. Yep. Little shout out. See, we got fans.
That's John. That's the guy I wanted
to
have.
John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he'll be back.
We'll get him back.
All right, back to the game. They had some struggles offensively. The quarterback threw 2 pick sixes. So
they've only scored 17 points in 2 games.
It's kind of hard to win.
Their defense is really good, though.
Their defense is excellent, but it's kind of hard to win when you keep turning the ball over.
You know, we've seen that a handful of times.
Yep.
Madison beating Steel Canyon. They block a field goal at the end of the game. If you thought he was going to make the field goal, I mean, it's a high school kid. It would have. First of all, it would have passed our boy James Wagonseller as the longest kick for the longest field goal of the year. But tough battle between Steel Canyon and Madison. Steel Canyon 0-2 to start the year. Surprised by that?
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little. I thought that was going to be a higher scoring game. I had Steel to win that game. I can't figure out the Warhawks. I mean, I pick against them. I pick with them against Otay, they lose. I pick against them with Steel Canyon, they win. They lose to Otay, but they beat Steel Canyon.
They're going to give you a call. Rick Jackson gave you a call to pick against us, Chris, every single time.
And you know what? It's funny. Historically, I've always been that way with Madison. That's the only high school that I've ever picked and they always go against me no matter what.
If you could gamble on games in high school, you would have the shoe in every time with
Every
Madison.
time.
Whatever Chris thinks, pick the
Pick the
opposite.
other.
You'll be in good shape.
Guaranteed money.
Helix 2-0. They beat Otay Ranch. We all picked them plus the points. Anytime
course.
Helix gets points, I'm taking them any
taking
day
them.
of the week.
That's Vegas odds, baby.
I thought they would win anyway, 2-0. The unfortunate thing for Helix and Otay, both their games this week got canceled. Not on them due to COVID-19. But
I'm sorry.
are they going to replay? Are they going to play each other again?
I don't think so. It's just. I mean,
let me ask you from a coaching perspective, all right? Because I know you coach youth and you've had some experience. You have an opportunity to play a game, but you have to play the same team again you played last week. Do you want to do it for a game, or do you just not do it?
I'm taking a bye week, give my guys some rest, getting ready for next week.
I might take the game. What if you just have like a game and you're just like, hey, look, it's not going to count, but we don't get the kids as many games as
possible. If you can get some rest early in the season, it's going to help you later in the year.
You schedule a game for your bye week?
Nope.
No, you're just going to play with 9? You have to play at least 9 to make the postseason, though.
Okay.
So if another game gets banged,
then
now all of a sudden, then you're at the mercy of somebody that's like, oh, well, Helix needs a game. I'm not going to give him a game.
Yeah, well, everybody's in that boat right now. It's not just one team.
I'm just throwing out scenarios. I'm keeping you on your toes.
I'm going to play it safe.
Scripps Ranch beat La Jolla, big win, 52-51, shootout. Did a nice job turning the ball or forcing turnovers. They did a good job of keeping Jackson Stratton on his toes. And, this gentleman right here that we're about to talk to, both of them, Jax Leatherwood and Jalen Shaw, outstanding football games. I was able to watch the game on tape. And, you're looking at the game and the way that Leatherwood played, poised, in control. Scripps didn't do anything too tricky. They played their game. They played good defense. I mean, giving up 52 points. But in the shootout against a team like La Jolla, they managed the game well to a point where they got to a lead, so big of a lead that it was insurmountable for La Jolla to come back.
So I'll say this. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the offense in that game. Where is the defense? 103 points scored in a high school football game in 4 quarters.
You're going to ask Marlon that?
There's no defense. I'm firing both defensive coordinators.
Oklahoma State.
I'm firing both defensive coordinators.
Back.
That's horrible.
I don't think you can do that. Notable games outside the county. Carlsbad beat Milliken. They covered.
They did.
We lost that game. They covered.
I can't believe that.
They covered.
Yeah.
The 44-point spread.
48-3. I did not see that coming.
Centennial.
Hats off, kids.
Centennial beat Cathedral. That was a very tough game, obviously, for us to watch. 57-14. We thought that was going to be a battle, and it was. It was absolutely a battle.
It was not a battle.
It was a battle. It was an uphill battle.
No, listen, that was an old school, and I think I can say this on YouTube without getting too much trouble. That was an old school ass whooping.
That was an uphill battle.
That was not at all fun. I mean, their smallest offensive lineman legitimately was 6'4", 300.
They run the
small. Do you realize their smallest offensive lineman was bigger than some of our biggest offensive linemen in San Diego?
They're big, they're tough, they're physical, and they play a different brand of football north of the borderline.
They rolled out 2 different offenses. You had an RPO quarterback, and you had a passing quarterback. And I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, they ran the same play over and over and over again.
And we couldn't
It was the same play. They do a really good job of running veer option.
Yep.
And it's even when your kids are in the right spot, it's tough to stop.
Yep.
So
and then don't get me started on the white hat. I don't know if you heard me from the field, but I almost got kicked out of the stadium because
they almost kicked out a lot of guys.
I was screaming at the white hat because I think we had seven roughing the passer calls.
Well, the thing is when you leave town. I mean, I'm sure Lincoln had to deal with the same thing at Los Al. When you leave town, you're not going to. It comes to the territory.
Home cooking?
There's always home cooking.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when other teams leave town. When when San Diego teams leave town, they're going to be, it's an uphill battle. It is what it is. But everybody knows it going in, so you can't blame the officials. And the officials weren't the reason why Cathedral got smacked.
No,
Centennial's
I mean,
outstanding.
3 minutes in the game, it was 20-0.
Well,
I literally turned off my camera. I wasn't going to put that on TV.
The other thing too, it's like, their opening drive, they drive down the field and score, right? Centennial, so be it. You fumble your first game or your first play line of scrimmage, they punch the next play. It's tough to come back 13-0 that quick. That happened to me my junior year when we played Helix. We were down 21-0 in the first 5 minutes. They drove down and scored, pick 6, block kick.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to come back from. Yep. So it's one of those games that Doyle puts on the schedule to make his team tough for the regular season. We'll see how they bounce back against Chaminade, who's not going to be a slouch in the Honor Bowl.
And if you look at they're ranked 13, we're 14. That's going to be another battle.
It's going to be a good game.
In the Honor Bowl, by the way.
Honor Bowl is going to be great. We'll talk about that in just a second. Mission Hills crushes Palos Verdes. We both had that.
Yep.
They covered.
I didn't think Palos Verdes is the Palos Verdes of old, so I thought they covered.
And then we both picked Lincoln to cover the spread.
You know,
they were in it. I mean, they were right there at the end.
Listen, I'm going to say this. Rod Robinson, you got the first down. I did go back and look at it. When you see the defensive lineman, he actually picks up the ball after Rod goes down. He moves it back 3 yards and sets it back down. And they spotted it for where the D lineman put it down, not where Rod put the ball down. Lincoln got that first down. They get that first down. I believe they punch in a score, they win that game.
What did I say about teams playing out of town?
I get it.
It is what it is.
I get it, but I think Lincoln got cheated.
I think Lincoln did a really good job of weathering the storm, right? Because
Yeah,
Los Al jumped out in front, and Lincoln did not quit, and they kept battling the whole time, and I thought they did well.
A lot more mental toughness in that game on the road against a really good team. So I got to, tip my hat to the Hornets, man.
But that's why you play those games,
Yeah.
right?
And by the way,
That's
did
why
you see
Lincoln
the catch of
scheduled
the
a
year?
game like that. Yes, I did see that.
That was an incredible
That
catch.
was
By the
nice.
way, it was brought to you by who? Who got that? Who got that on film? TSC Sports, right here, baby. Now, if you didn't see it, you can go on Sports Center. That catch
That's
made
right.
Sports Center, baby.
We gotta get it.
Sports.
We need a camera on Calvin.
Yes.
Calvin, we gotta get another
The legend.
camera.
This dude is slowly
That's
becoming
right.
a legend right before your eyes, and you don't even know it.
Because then Calvin can read us comments that you guys leave on YouTube.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the other thing that Calvin could do, he could be our celebrity picker every once in a while. He could drop the knowledge. Absolutely. That's all the games from last week. Let's get our top 10s in before we welcome our guests. Did you update your top 10?
No, but I can. You know what? Do yours. I'll update mine while we're here.
I love Cathedral in the top 10 for playing Centennial out of town. Call me a homer all you want. I still think they're the best. And, if they lose to Shaman, I'll make an adjustment. I got Carlsbad 2. I got Lincoln 3. I got Mission Hills 4. I got Mater Dei 5. Granite Hills 6. Torrey Pine 7. Poway 8. Helix 9. I'm giving a little love to the Grossmont Foothillers starting 2-0.
Okay, I agree.
They beat a top 10 team in
Didn't I
county.
say that last week when you were asking me about sleeper teams? I think I said
Grossmont?
Grossmont. Remember, and you kind of looked at me like, "Are you serious?"
I didn't believe it until I see it.
Yeah, well.
Let me ask you this again. At the end of the year, do they have the musket?
No.
All right, well, they're not there yet. They're working
they're
on it,
not
but
there
they're 2-0.
yet.
I'll put Grossmont in the top 10. What do you got?
My list is all screwed up here. I'm gonna go with Carlsbad showed me something. With Lincoln
By covering
losing,
the spread.
48-3 on the road at Milliken. Hey, what do you want me to say? Purple P leader, you're my new number 1 team.
You got 2.
I'm taking Carlsbad at 2. Carlsbad at 1. Mission Hills at 2. Cathedral falls to 3. Lincoln falls to 4.
You dropped Lincoln from 2 to 4?
Yeah.
After playing somebody really good out of town and only losing by 4?
You lost the game. You're 1-1.
I'm going to give Lincoln a little bit more credit.
You
At
lost
least
the
they
game.
went and played somebody.
Yeah, but you got to win to
At
stay
least
in.
they played somebody.
No, I can't agree.
If Lincoln
Listen,
plays Palos Verdes, they win by more.
Anybody who knows me knows I don't give out participation trophies. You got to win to stay in, baby. That's it. And look, you dropped Cathedral, you dropped Lincoln. For the first time, St. Augustine drops out of my top 10. I think
They're
they
not
lost
in my
another
top
close
10.
one. So they're out.
They're going to lose again on Friday, tomorrow. Santa Margarita.
Yeah, that's going to be another.
They ain't going to win that game.
At 4, I've got El Camino. 5, I'm going to go with. That's hard. 5 is a tough one for me. I'll probably go Mater Dei. They blew out that team. 6, I'm going to go Eastlake. They really. At 1-1, I still think
you moved them from 8 to 6 after losing, after you just said if you don't win.
Well, yeah, but there's a caveat there. Okay, anyway.
Come on.
And then I got Torrey Pines, La Jolla to finish it out. All right, we fair?
No scripts?
Not yet.
Not yet for me. They're in the top 10 in the Readers poll, by the way.
Yeah.
Not for me yet.
It's kind of hard making the argument, though. I mean, they did just
They beat a team that I had at 6 last week,
Yeah.
right? So they're right on the cusp.
They are on the
They're
cusp.
right on the cusp.
They are. Let me see one more week.
So that's our top 10.
Yep.
We got some special guests joining us.
Yep.
I got Marlon Gardinera coming to join us. He's talking it up in his hometown over
Like he
here in
always
Script
does.
France. Right? So while we wait for him.
You know we should nickname him? The mayor.
The mayor of Script France.
He's a politician.
He is.
He's quite a
He's
politician.
yucking it up. Can't get a hold of him.
Mr. Gardinera. Calling Mr. Gardinera.
He's already mic'd up, ready to go.
Calling
We
Mr.
got creative
Gardinera.
space. We got a chair for him.
Oh, yeah, we do.
I'll scoot over a little bit.
Where'd that chair go? Oh, right here. We're going to put, you know what? We're going to do something different.
What?
We're going to put him in the middle
That's
of the
right.
side. What do you
Put
think?
him right. No, we got one right here for you. Right down in the middle, we got the head football coach of the Scripps Ranch Falcons joining us, Marlon Gardinera.
We're putting you in a hot
2-0
seat,
ball
Coach.
club right now
You're right in the
with
middle.
Scripps Ranch.
You're in a hot seat.
Right in the middle.
Right there in the middle.
All right, I can do this. How you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
It's been a little while.
That's right. Last time I was talking to Marlon, we were talking smack about TCU, Oklahoma State baseball.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how did that go for you?
I don't remember that year, but I'm just going to go on the averages.
You don't remember last year?
On the averages, we're up.
Big 12 championship game was not good to you in that.
I don't know.
You watch
ruining
Big
it.
12
I was coming
baseball?
to you because I like
but
you.
I don't like Big 12 anything.
Wow, you don't like
He's
offense?
an Ohio State
Big
guy.
Ten.
You don't like offense?
Big 10, baby. Big 10 or go home.
He
Okay,
thinks
it's too bad you couldn't play
Ohio
in the Big Ten.
State's the real
No, it's too
OSU.
cold.
That's true.
It was too
I
cold.
won't argue with
No
that.
part of that.
I won't argue with that.
He thinks Ohio State's the real OSU. What do you think about that?
Wow, that's disrespectful.
Remember, we pronounce it the Ohio State University.
And you got that from the U in Miami.
Oh, I don't know about that, but we are the Ohio State University.
We're digressing a little bit.
that's not what OSU means.
Let's talk about last week first.
Yes, sir.
Big win against La Jolla. I gave you a shout out last week. You guys have had, back and forth with La Jolla. Obviously, the infamous play we don't want to talk about, CIF Championship. You got them this year.
Yes.
You outscored them. You put together a good fundamental game plan. And, in the grand scheme of things, against a team like La Jolla, who's ranked high, they're in the Western League now. How did you think your kids executed what you guys put in place that week?
I think we had 6 or 7 drives of 18 plays or more, and you can't get high school kids to do that. So from an execution standpoint and sort of defining who they are and what they're capable of, I don't think you get a better matchup.
True.
We've been under the curse of La Jolla for
That's
a number
right.
of years. And just this last week, my shrink said I am now ready to talk about the relationship and connection we've had with La Jolla.
That's funny.
Apparently it took a win to get me to
talk about
that
it.
point where I could talk about it with my therapist.
I understand.
But that had to be a good feeling right there at the final whistle of that game, right?
It was a great feeling at the final whistle because the time before when I looked at the scoreboard, it was 52-27. And then right before the whistle blew, it was 52-51. So as you can imagine, I had some
Anxiety.
thoughts and emotions
Yeah.
between coming out of the second half strong and then where it actually ended up.
Right.
But listen, that's a great football team. And I don't know that I could ever speak that highly of a high school quarterback, but Jackson Stratton is the real deal.
Yes, he is.
The kid throws on a laser. He can extend drives like no one's business. And the other part is he's so elusive. Think of Pittsburgh, Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Yep.
Except he can actually move. You know how
Right.
Big Ben gets away from people, but he
Yeah.
can't really go anywhere?
Yeah.
This kid is exactly the same, but he actually can get away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what his body position's in, he can throw on a laser.
Yeah.
The kid was impressive. Now, fortunately, we got a guy.
Wait, who's your guy?
We got a guy.
You got a guy?
We got a guy.
Got a guy.
He goes by JAX, straight from the womb.
Yep.
That's his new name.
Yep.
We're getting shirts printed.
Straight from the moon. I like. By the way, I saw his interview. on
Did you
PBR.
see it?
That was actually pretty cool. And by the way, how did you get a junior to be that poised, quarterback that poised in his first live on TV interview?
Actually, I gave him thorough warnings because he has so much personality. He's got a big personality.
Yeah.
I gave him warnings. Now listen, people are going to see you, and you got Scripps Ranch stuff on, so take it easy on him.
Right.
But you saw how the interaction went, between Paul and Mr. Rudy.
Yeah.
He's a character. He's like that all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, local kid.
Yep.
I would have never guessed it. I saw him play baseball for a lot of years,
Yep.
and he was one of those long kids where
Yep.
when he lets go of the ball, his hand's right over the plate.
Right.
And I
We
saw,
hated pitchers like that, by
I
the
saw
way.
basketball,
Like
I saw volleyball. You could see those things.
Yeah.
But he just, in the last year and a half, 2 years, learned how to stand on those legs. And it's an accolade because, kids go that fast, that young. He's 16 years old, and he just turned 16.
Right.
They're like giraffes. They don't know
Yeah.
how to use them.
They don't know how to use their legs yet.
And I don't know, I do know
No
what
wobbly.
he did. He worked out with Doug Brady. He worked out with Todd Durkin.
Yep.
I know he's got a couple other guys. He'll probably mention them
Yeah.
where he put in the work, and he's standing on those legs tall.
Speaking of that, coach, I got to see him in the SDS and Kickoff Classic. I came down to your
Yep.
sidelines.
Yep.
Normally, when I see a 6'8" kid at 16 years old, we talked about this.
We did.
They're a little wobbly on their legs.
Yep.
They look like the giraffe that
Yep.
just was born.
Yep. Yep.
They're kind of stumbling. When I watch him, his footwork was incredible.
It's not bad. It's
It
not
was
bad.
incredible. I mean, for that, and you got to remember, this kid's 6'8" and a half. And
He
we're not
looked,
talking-
and we're showing video of
Yeah.
him throwing it. I mean,
Well, hold on. He's in the background. reminding me that he's 6'6", you know, that sweet spot for quarterbacks.
No, he's 6'8.5". I mean, I was sitting next to him, and I just kept looking up and up and up and up, and I'm like, how old is this kid?
Yeah.
I was about to ask you for ID on this kid. I felt like I was watching Little League Baseball with some Cuban kid that came in that was 17 or something.
You had feelings. Imagine what it looks like when I'm trying to yell at this kid. And he's looking down at me like some little punk. On several occasions, I have gone to the bench, stood on the bench, and said what I had to say. Because it is difficult to look up to a child and try to fix him. But he can stand on those legs.
He's got moxie, too. He'll stand in there and take a hit.
Absolutely. Quick release. He does an RPO better than anybody I've ever seen. And maybe I don't want to say we're giving him too much credit. It's not possible. He can see.
Yeah, his deep ball is nice.
Well, and he can see. So when he's doing an RPO, it's almost not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably looking right at the kid, saying, "Look, which way are you going?" Because as soon as you go the other way, you know what I'm doing.
Right.
He's got it together. As a junior, you don't see this.
So what's it like? This kid obviously is something special.
Yes.
What's it like being a head coach and getting him, trying to motivate him to be the best he can be as a high school player?
You know what? He requires no motivation. The things I talk about with him, because he's young, and not that he doesn't have these attributes, but you want him to walk away with some leadership skills. You want humility, because most 16-year-olds aren't being contacted by the best of the best in the Pac-12. So, you know, from a head coach to a quarterback like this, enjoy the moment, be humble, bring the rest of your team with you as you progress through this experience, because it's an experience.
I heard you had a pretty interesting phone call, or somebody reached out to you today. David Shaw's staff, I guess, reached out to you today. You want to talk a little bit about what that phone call was like?
Stanford reached out today. Bill Musgrave from Berkeley reached out yesterday. San Diego State's on him. My guess is he's going to have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And it's just based on his character, his demeanor, his overall presence, and then his ability to play the game. He's a good kid.
How good is he in the X's and O's, in the classroom, studying film? What's he like there?
We have this joke. We'll say something was good, and he'll say, "Well, I thought so too, coach." And we look at him like, we're the coaches, you're the player. He gets it. He really, really, really gets it. He sees it, he understands it. He studies it before he walks up to the line. He studies film. The kid is preparing. I can say this, only having been around 5 years. Obviously, it's the best thing I've seen, and it's up there with Jax Leatherwood, who we already know is going to the University of Washington.
Right.
I've got a guy on staff who's been doing it for 34 years, Mark Bolt.
Yep.
PQ, Mira Mesa, you name it, he's been there.
Right.
He runs scout both sides, and in many cases, I think he runs scout as good as the teams run their offenses and defenses. He said it. He's seen some guys who've gone to the NFL, but they weren't in the same place when they were 16-year-old juniors.
Right.
So it's an exciting time. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
He's played 2 varsity football games.
Right, yeah.
He showed us the top line already.
Right.
I don't know what more we could ask him to do,
coaches.
right now.
Right.
Just keep doing what you're doing, keep growing. And he is humble enough to do that.
Let's change directions for just
Sure,
a second.
sure.
I got another question for you. So, you were vital in the Let Them Play California movement during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I believe your son was heavily involved in it too.
He was the plaintiff in the lawsuit.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that publicly.
Yeah.
As a father, as a coach, I mean, you put him out there on the chopping block. You talk about what it's like to have that kind of leadership, that kind of moxie, to just not, I mean, you believe in something so much for all the kids in San Diego, all the kids in California, that you put your own kid's future on the line for that. Talk about that.
Actually, he did it. He came to me one day and he said, "Dad, we got to do something." And I think he meant initially, "You got to do something, Dad."
Right.
And he said, "Don't let me down."
Oh, wow.
And listen, my son has done everything I've ever asked him to do. He's been the type of kid you hope to raise and you hope things stay on the right path. Nothing but impressive. But I said, that's a big ask. Come do it with me. And, my wife likes to give me a hard time. I don't know what we get to do to top that. 2.8 million kids got to go back to doing what they love. They got away from depression, suicidal ideation, joining gangs, unplanned pregnancies, you name it. But I did it with my son. He's doing TV interviews. He's lobbying California Senate, the California Assembly members. He's doing rallies. He got an experience that, excuse me, sometimes you go your whole life and you don't get to do those sort of things. So from a father-son perspective, you can't ask for anything more. You really can't.
And what a great opportunity it was, because it's not, it's different when, you put yourself it's easy for somebody that doesn't have a senior to go, you know what, we'll just play next year. But when you have the senior, and for anybody that has kids, obviously, you know, and knows kids, it's like you only get high school once, right? It's not like in college where they all got another year of eligibility. Right. You know, it's not like the pros are like, you know, they're gonna figure out a way to win. They got too much money on the line. But for high school, this is it. And it wasn't just sports. I mean, there's so many things that.
It wasn't just football either.
Right. I mean, it's all these other kids doing other events, you know, and the other thing, it's like there's so many different things about being in high school that you'll never learn again. And, you know, I'm going to ask you this because it's a little off subject, but it kind of relates. Okay, you guys both have sons, right? You guys both have kids that are either in high school or have gone through high school. And I asked Coach John Quintera the same question because you get the name, image, and likeness thing now, right? So you have kids leaving high school early for money. Now, that's a very difficult decision to make, right? Because X, you have an amount of money that might, you know, set him up great, but at the same time, a kid that would make that kind of money anyway, are you willing to forego, you know, a year of life experiences in high school? That's a tough thing to kind of grasp for some parents, and obviously it differs based on the situation. And
I'm going to bring it back to what you said about my son. As much as he was clearly part of my motivation, if he does everything you ask him to do, you do everything you can to create the best environment you can. But it wasn't Nicholas. There were kids on the team that were starting to have anxiety, starting to go through depression, starting to have a tough time. And this is coach talk. Coaches know this. You guys are close to football, close to sports, you understand this.
Yeah, I saw it.
A good percentage of your team, when they turn 18, their chest sticks out.
Right.
They get in an argument with dad. They come to the football coach's office, and they say, I got to quit. And I look at them, I chuckle and say, oh, you got in a fight with your dad. Yeah. Or you tried to buck up to your mother, and your father put you in your place.
Right.
And they say the same thing every time, yes.
Right.
And I tell them, well, you need to learn a little dose of respect. The people who got you where you are, you're not done yet, and they're not done yet, and you're going to sit there and learn and take whatever they have to give you. It was the kids that were getting discouraged. It was the ones that not only were they ready to give up on football, why finish school? Why don't I just go get a job and get life started?
Right.
And listen, I'll tell you, my program is not about that. Right. I don't care where you go, but you need to be done and prepared before you get there.
Right.
So that fight was for those kids. So to answer your question, most of them aren't ready to get through being in their house.
Right.
Let alone go take on a couple $100,000.
Right.
Or I don't care if it's $1,000 from a local business where they do the name and likeness. That's going to be a challenge with some kids having to grow up. A lot of professionals don't know what to do with money.
Right.
What's a kid going to do with extra dollars?
My take is really, I'm going to echo a lot of sentiments he's talking about. My major concern is that there's a lot of kids in a low socioeconomic environment that are going to see this money right away.
Right.
The problem with that is when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, and I hand you a check for $1 million or
whatever it is,
$85,000, a small money, right? We don't have, I say we, because being a young African American, at one point, we didn't have the leadership.
Glad you cleared that up.
He's young at heart.
I'm younger than you, so I can say that. Okay? You're the old man in this.
I'm just clearing it up.
We weren't taught what to do with that kind of money.
Right.
And so you spend money.
How could our parents have taught us? They didn't have
that
it.
money.
Right.
So, and I remember having a little bit when baseball was done, spending $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in a weekend with a girlfriend in Vegas.
Right.
And making some extremely poor decisions because there was no one to teach us about putting money away, how to be, successful financially. So my biggest concern is about kids coming from a low socioeconomic. I don't care if they're white, black, Chinese. I don't care where they come from. It's about not having wealth when they're younger and being taught how to handle wealth. Right. That they're going to make decisions and they're going to have entourages that make bad financial decisions.
And don't do any work.
And that's going to be the majority of college players, let alone the ones that might go, why am I going to do a senior year of high school when Ohio State's knocking on the door and I get to leave early.
I want to be
wild. That quarterback that
so that's the reason why I brought it up. He's getting paid $1.4 million to not even play.
Never took a snap in college football. And the guy's already got $1 million in the
Well,
bank.
but I'll say this.
That's scary.
It is scary.
I'm glad that they get a chance to make money on themselves.
They do.
Yes.
Correct.
Versus somebody else making all the dollars. But it'd be
I
nice if it came with a trust fund and an executor
Or-
that wasn't
or-
related who could
or-
manage how that process goes. But, you know,
You went through the
Or-
draft process out of high school, right?
I did.
In baseball. So it's the thing is though
except they
too.
only offered me a donut and a map.
But the thing is too, it's like it's you know
Different
for
era,
anybody
Coach.
that's against NIL but is in support of baseball guys getting drafted. To me, it's like it's the balance of
6'1"
now
and a half
football and
dozen
basketball players and all these other athletes can get the because you went through
Well,
that
let's-
process. I mean,
let's
that's
face it.
as
Let's
a high
face it.
school kid, that's a tough process to go
It
through.
is.
Let's face it. The NCAA is the minor leagues
Oh,
feeding
yeah.
system for the
100%.
NFL. Okay, so they're
100%.
making billions, not millions,
A lot.
billions of dollars off these kids. So what I would like to say though is I think a certain portion of their NIL money should be put aside and managed by the NCAA, and they get the full money when they graduate college.
That's been a point that a lot of different schools bring up.
So
And
But I
as a
wanted to throw that out for you guys just
Yeah.
because
We
it's,
went way
it's
off
a lot
topic,
of
but I think
it's
it's
a
a
lot.
good-
It's interesting
As a
with
coach-
terms of leaving high school early
Right.
to potentially
that's
do
crazy.
stuff. Where
And
it's
by the
like,
way, I
you
don't
can
know if
learn a
you
lot
saw,
in high school.
Who's the one of the best top basketball guys that TSC supports? Got what?
Oh, he's got a lot.
Mikey
Basketball.
Williams got
Mikey
what?
Williams
$1 million?
got a lot.
Basketball.
$1 million.
Basketball. What's basketball?
I know.
It's the thing that's
It's
in
the
between.
other-
it's
the
the
sport
little
between
sport
football
in
and
between
baseball.
football and
Do you-
off-season.
Do you
football.
tackle people?
No,
I don't know.
you can,
I
but
watched
it's,
some.
you get in trouble for it.
Dennis Rodman used to tackle people.
We talked a lot about Jax Leatherwood. Let's talk a little bit about Jalen Shaw also joining us. Phenomenal athlete. In fact, we gave him an award, I think, last week, Chris, if I'm not mistaken. He was definitely a ball hawk last week for Scripps Ranch. Got 2 picks.
Yep.
Did he get any picks this week?
I don't think he had any picks. He was too busy scoring touchdowns.
Too busy scoring touchdowns. Talk to us about the young man that he is. Talk to us about what he brings to Scripps Ranch High School football.
Well, I can't just talk about him. He's part of a lineage.
The Shaw boys.
The Shaw boys.
Yeah.
His
I
older
want to
bro-
get that shirt.
Yeah, me too. His
Yeah,
older brother
when's that shirt
Mackay.
being
Yeah, when's that shirt being
His older brother
dropped?
Mackay showed up on the depth chart at San Diego State.
I saw
He's
that.
probably one of the best cover corners that I've ever seen, but he's playing receiver. I saw him get off the line once, and you see people juke every once in a while.
Right.
And the guy tries to get hands on him, and they can't. I don't know that anybody could get hands on his brother. Now, it's this lineage, because this kid, not only is he just a shutdown cover corner, he can run the rock. Rushed for 147 yards last week, 3 touchdowns. I think he had 4 touchdowns the week before. I think there were 3 rushing, 1 pick 6 to the house.
Jeez.
One of the most dynamic, athletic, humble, quiet, hardworking kids you could ever have. Another local kid that just shows up and does what he's supposed to do. Now the fact that he does it, I call it silk when he's running.
So,
It's just it's like a quiet swoosh
yeah.
as he goes by.
Yeah.
Tell Nike if they want to do some NIL money, he is the swoosh.
He is the
He's the swoosh in the Nike.
All right.
He's just a phenomenal athlete. That's a kid that some schools really need to be looking at.
Yeah.
And because he's so good, they get to pick. Where do you want him? You want him as a back? You want him as a corner?
Right.
You want him as a receiver? You want him in the
Yeah,
slot?
you and I got a chance to talk about him at the SDFNL Kickoff Classic.
Yeah.
And the quote that I use when I talk about him is, first of all, people have to understand, I have a crazy amount of respect for this man here when it comes to athleticism. Played college ball, got drafted, went to business instead of doing sports. That was his choice. He's been very successful doing that. But I got to watch him as a player. We used to call this man Bo Jackson back when he played at Mission Bay. He was the center fielder for the baseball team and the fullback for the football team. And you hated hitting him in football, and when he hit the ball in baseball, you thought it was going to kill you. So he was, for him to say that Jalen is the fastest kid he's ever coached, that's actually really, really impressive. I didn't take that lightly, and then when I saw him on film, I'm like, oh man,
All right, now I'm going to clear that up.
Oh boy.
We got another one, Nigel
Okay.
Richards.
Okay.
The other corner. He is the fastest kid.
Okay.
This is the most athletic kid I've ever even been around.
Okay.
Now, I don't know who would win that race.
Really?
I'd like to see it, but that's one of those postseason things.
Yeah.
Just in case
We don't wanna
anybody,
pull a hammy,
just anybody
right?
catches a cramp or anything.
Right.
I mean, that's a postseason challenge that I'll put out for those two boys.
Right.
But they're both going somewhere. But Jalen Shaw, you know, when you run out of things to say about people.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to talk because they just do it week in and week
Film
out.
don't lie. Go watch his film.
I'm gonna leave it right there. If I had a mic, I would drop it. Film don't lie.
Wait,
Drop that if you want.
It's not big enough.
We got a couple challenges already on the show. We got John Duran calling out Chase Osborne for a wing challenge, and now we got the race going on.
The race?
We got the race. Nyjah Richards,
You
Jalen
heard
Shaw.
that, Coach?
We
guys
got.
heard that.
We're gonna bring Jax on here and Jalen in a second. Tell one Marlon story when he was my neighbor. So, I've known Marlon since I was right before high school. When he found out I was going to Cathedral as my across the street neighbor, he wasn't necessarily too happy about it.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Uni sucks. Go ahead. Doyle, I love you. I respect you. I still hate Uni.
Before my first ever freshman football game for Cathedral, he knew I was playing a game that day. In the morning, I'm getting picked up from carpool. We're going to Cathedral in Scripps Ranch. He walks out in his Mission Bay Letterman's jacket, and he starts singing the Mission Bay alma mater,
Mission Bay,
and then starts
black
talking
and
smack
gold.
about Cathedral. We weren't
Hail
even
to
playing
the
Mission
alma
Bay,
mater.
but he was just doing it to
Raisins
get
to
in
leave.
my
That's
head.
Marlon.
That's Marlon, man. That's great.
Loyalty
All right, can I
we
tell my
pledge
story?
forever.
Yes.
All right,
That was
here's my
outstanding.
story.
I love that. I still love that story.
I'm true to my school.
1991. Okay. Best player. I mean, we had Tennille Etheridge in our division, in our league. We had some dudes. We had Johnny Verdeen. We had Cesar Verdeen. We had Rick Miyahara. We had some dudes. Eppolitos. I think Eppolitos
Rob
played
was
there.
about a little bit
We had
for
some
us.
dudes that went somewhere. We had Haley. Larry Haley was there. Anyway, I'm a center fielder by trade. Something happened
I've seen
to
your
our
baseball picks.
someone, whatever.
I've seen them. I believe it.
So someone I forgot, somebody got hurt or something, and we didn't have a third baseman. So coach calls me in from center, and Johnny Verdeen was the other center fielder. He was pitching. Now Johnny threw mid-90s,
Johnny too hard.
okay,
He
and
supplied
he had
the-
some
he
scouts.
supplied the power. What do you
He
mean?
had some scouts.
He did.
So I'm playing third. I think there's a guy on first, and up steps Bo Jackson. And I'm looking at this dude. He's like 5'8", 210, 4% body fat. And I'm like, Jesus, like what's going on? Like, so Johnny grooves a fastball. Now I remember Johnny turning and looking and throwing the ball toward home plate. I remember hearing the sound of the ping of the bat. Then something hit my hands. The glove hits my chest, knocks me back on my ass. I never saw the ball. To this day, this man almost literally killed me on a baseball field.
And Marlon's going back to the dugout all upset. He's like, man,
Yeah,
I got
was
out.
mad.
Yeah, he
Smoked
got
that.
out.
I was mad.
I mean, dude, he turned on it. A 90-something fastball and turned on it.
Wasn't
and-
personal. Wasn't
Jesus.
personal. Wasn't personal.
That'd be
And-
very
and-
impressive, though. If
Yeah.
you just had a vendetta on somebody, just
Oh
you
my
can hit
God,
líneas at them.
This
constantly.
is before they had, like, you know, when they showed, like, the
what
speed leaving the
softball's
bat.
That's right. So
You
you know,
know-
softball's for.
You know, the Major League Baseball has the speed leaving the bat.
Right.
That was well over 120 miles an hour.
I don't know what he's talking about.
So
Let's get the kids
in
going.
here. Yeah.
Appreciate
It's
what
good
you guys
catching
do.
up with you. I appreciate what
now,
you do.
Now, I wasn't listening. Did you make a pick for this week?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We can before we go,
Well, now, just keep in mind, I'm going to be here when you do.
that's
That's fine.
cool. That's
All
fine.
right, just want to make sure we're all on the
Hey, we
same
got a
page.
win for him last week.
You did.
did.
You
They
did.
covered.
Thank you for that.
By the way, no, thank you.
No, thank you. We
That's the
appreciate
second- that's
that.
the
I got
second
you.
time
Helped us
picked
out.
you.
I got you.
Like, you know the
You got us
first
the first
time.
week? You got us the first week?
No. You know the first time I picked you in the championship game, that didn't
Oh.
end so well for me, did it?
Well, my therapist says I can talk about it if you want, but I understand. I understand.
Right? You had that game in the bag. You went to the same play 4 times. I'm still hurt
Mark
over
my
that game.
words. If we stay healthy, they stay healthy, we will see them again. And if you think the first one was a battle, the second one will be the same thing.
Ooh, I like that. I
La
like
Jolla
that.
comes ready to play.
They do.
They do.
They do. And hats
And they're
off
going
to
to
that
surprise some
program.
teams. They're in the Western League this year. Don't sleep on
Hey,
them.
by the way, before you
Plus,
let
I
you
need them
go.
to win so they don't make me go.
How
Right.
good? ah,
Hey, isn't that how the rating
How
system
good-
works?
Oh,
how good
please.
is-
You're
how
La
good is-
Jolla's biggest fan right now.
How good is Makai Smith?
That's a dude.
That's a dude.
That's a dude.
All right.
He almost looked like he wasn't supposed to be in high school.
Yeah.
He looked like, okay, you're
Yeah.
dude, man
Man,
kind of
child,
situation.
yeah.
That's a dude.
Yeah.
And don't forget Tyler Roach.
Yep.
I appreciate when another program is doing the right thing and preparing kids and creating a culture that again feeds into what do they end up like.
He's turned
Money
that
or
program
not.
around.
He-
dude.
That program,
Yes.
after Carter left, that
Yeah.
program was on life support.
They did
Now
a good,
they are a
did good
contender.
job.
They moved up to the Western League. You know, I always thought Tyler's most impressive thing was beating cancer. And now I see what he's done with that. And I'll be the first one to say it, Tyler, to everybody at Vikingville. When he called me, he says, Chris, I'm taking over La Jolla. I remember saying, why? Why would you take that job?
He made it. He turned it into something. He did.
You know, he left La Jolla Country Day when Burmeister was there, and he left there, and he took that job at La Jolla. And I was the first one to say, please don't.
Bro.
And I'm super proud of the young man for what he's done with that program. I thought beating cancer was impressive.
Yeah.
It just shows his resolve and his leadership.
Well, and Tyler has become a good friend. He lives here in Scripps Ranch. He comes to our bar on a semi-regular basis.
Okay.
Hopefully after last week, he spent a little
Will
money.
he come back?
I don't know. That's a good question. But
Yeah.
I have to plug his kid.
Who's that?
He has a young son. I'm not going to mention his name. He's young.
Okay.
But he plays for Scripps Ranch Pop Warner.
He does.
I just want to make sure
He
the whole
plays for
world knows that.
Verissimo, I think.
Tyler, I had to give you a hard time. I love you. You know I love
Scripps
you.
Ranch.
But he plays for
How,
Scripps
you
Ranch
put him in
Pop Warner.
Scripps Ranch?
I'm a Scripps
What are you
Ranch
doing,
Pop
man?
Warner alum.
Gentlemen, you guys are awesome.
Appreciate you,
I
Marlon.
appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, too.
Appreciate
Let's bring in some kids.
Let's start bringing it. We got Jax Leatherwood joining us right now,
Absolutely.
quarterback for the Scripps Ranch Falcons.
You're going to want to
Big
give him
week.
a lower chair.
Yeah, he's already going to make.
Yeah.
We're already
Can I get-
not very
hold
tall,
on.
and he's
Can I
going to
get
make
a
us
booster
look even
seat? You guys
smaller.
got booster seats?
Get him
For
the
my
regular
interview here?
the regular chair would
I'll give
work
him a
out
regular chair if I were
perfectly.
you guys.
The regular chair is going to work, but thanks again to Marlon Gardinera. We're going to talk to Jax Leatherwood here. Then we're going to get to Jalen Shaw. We'll start giving out some awards for this week as well. Do you want to start giving out some awards
Let's
as
do
we
that
go?
in the meantime. Yeah, let's just give
So
out some awards.
let's go for the Bell Cow Award. Christian Washington, I know we kind of gave him some love last week. I didn't, you did.
Yes.
20 carries, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, along with 68. Cass Jones, the running back for Ramona, 21 carries, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and along with 38.
I want to give out an Aerial Assault Award. Let's go to, unfortunately, the loser of that game we just talked about, but I'm going to give props out to Jackson Stratton, quarterback from La Jolla, who was 20 of 37 for 470 yards, 7 tubs, 1 interception.
Jalen Daniels, Lincoln quarterback, 15 for 30, 321 yards against a very good Los Alamitos team, a touchdown and a pick. And then
The other quarterback in that battle last week, who's going to be our guest here in a little bit, Jax Leatherwood, quarterback Scripps Ranch, 358 yards, 4 tubs.
And let's bring him in right now as we'll talk to him a little bit about that outing, and then we'll get some more of the awards in just a little bit. Watch out with your cords there.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
It's called the Road Show.
are we gonna be able to frame him in the shot?
Can we frame him?
I mean, I'm gonna have to stand up to try to let me sit up straight.
There we go. Little booster. I need a booster seat. Anybody got a booster seat?
No, I don't. Jax,
I
thanks
think you
again for
might need
joining
more than
us.
me.
Absolutely, dude. I'm like 5'7". He's got an entire foot on me. Anyway,
Foot and 1 inch. But
thanks
yeah.
again for joining us. Big win last week. What'd you see from the team? And talk to us a little bit about that game last week.
It was a great game. It was a shootout, man. We knew coming into it that we were going to put up points. They were going to put up points. We both have great offenses. It really came down to the special teams. That's what our coaches have been highlighting this
Block
week. That's
punt.
what all the players know.
Yeah, block punt
The
that
block
game.
punt. Our kicker went perfect, 100% on extra points, and made his 1 field goal that he attempted. So that he was really a special place in that game.
What was it like for you? Because I know, you asked pitchers. I ask pitchers this all the time. The pitching matchup, right? Some guy that you're never going to go against mano-a-mano in the actual game, but you're competing against them the whole time. You went up in that kind of situation against a guy like Jackson Stratton, going to Washington. I know obviously you have, high not only expectations but desires to probably play at the collegiate level. What was it like with you in a shootout, trading blows with a kid like that?
Man, I honestly felt really special in that moment because Jackson's been a well-known guy since his sophomore year, won CIF. He's really well-known. D1, Washington. I was kind of amazed that I was in that moment with him and that we were competing so well against each other. And he's such a nice guy. We shook hands after the game, had a little talk. It was just an incredible moment.
So 3 of the top, people may not know this, but 3 of the top 5 collegiate programs have quarterbacks from Southern California. That's pretty impressive when you
true.
talk about 3 of the top in the entire nation for college football. What's special about playing in Southern California as a quarterback?
I think it's just the West Coast offense type deal. Like, we love to sling the ball. Like, if you have a good quarterback, you're going to take advantage. It's not like a ground and pound, like places that aren't in SoCal. It's a lot of guys from around here have a lot of talent. We breed talent. SoCal is just a great place for all that.
So Doug Brady is a big supporter of yours. You
Yeah.
train with Doug Brady. Talk about your relationship with Doug Brady, what it means to you as a quarterback coach.
Well, I met him last summer, so not this previous summer, but the summer before, going into my sophomore year. And actually, Luke Durkin, who was a quarterback before me, put me in contact. I wasn't even sure if I was even going to play football that season, because I was really not that skillful. I didn't have as much confidence in myself as I do now. And when I first had that session with Doug, he taught me so much the very first time. I just really wanted to go back. And over the weekends, every Sunday we were training. We grew our bond. I got better as a quarterback, and I love him for it. Now he's one of my guys. He's a mentor of mine, and I consider him one of my best friends.
That's cool.
Let's talk about, we talked about Jackson being able to go to Washington. It sounded like you got a couple phone calls, which is, outstanding and probably really exciting. As you go through this process now, you're a junior, you're going to go through it again next year. What is kind of your mindset going into it? What are you looking for in a school? And, what are your kind of your expectations and how this process is developing? And what kind of advice have you gotten maybe from either your parents or, maybe some other friends or people that might have gone through the process you're about to go through?
I'll start with the advice thing. Coach Gardinera, he spoke on it earlier. He's been really on me about humility and leadership. And he
really is 16, okay? I promise. You heard the voice crack? He really is 16.
Yeah, he's been all over me about that. He knows he was once a D1 recruit, and he's told me all about it. Don't get too big-headed. Like, just make sure to bring all the kids with you, too. And then what I look for in a college, I have a 4.0 GPA. My mom went to Brown University for volleyball. We're a very academic family, so any school with great academics, such as Cal, who's contacted me, and schools like that, it's just that's something I really look for. And I don't want just to go to a school because it's a big name program. I want to go to a school that really wants me and shows interest, and I don't know, I want to be appreciated at that school.
Good.
Well, that's even for kids that are not athletes, are looking for the best fit for them in the school. You get the benefit of being able to play, sports potentially as well. Let's talk about your teammate in particular. We're about to talk to Jalen Shaw. Talk to us a little bit about what he brings your guys' offense, defense, and some other players that are big time players for Scripps Ranch that we should be on the lookout for.
I mean, there's too many to mention in this. Our entire team, I could go on and on about every single player on this roster. Jalen Shaw, he's a stud. Like with me and my receivers, Connor Lawler, Will, Nija, everyone on there, we can throw the ball downfield. But then when we ground and pound with our linemen and Jalen, it's a 1-2 punch that I don't think any team in this county could prepare for. It's amazing.
Okay. So I'll let you answer this question. Go ahead.
Why? You're phrasing your question?
All right, I'll ask it. So you started 2 high school football games.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of publicity. Have you reached your ceiling, or is there more for us to see?
Well, I do not think I've reached my ceiling. I still want a 5-touchdown game. I want 400 yards on a stat line. I want it all. I know I can't always have it all, but I know I haven't reached my peak yet.
Okay. Let's talk about head coach Marlon Gardinera. What's it like to play for him? But on top of that, you get an opportunity to play, and your quarterback coach is Todd Durkin. You got to play in college. You get to work with Doug Brady as well. And talk to us about kind of the coaches at Scripps and some of the guys you work with off the field as well.
And the culture. The culture of Scripps as well.
Oh, the culture of Scripps is great. I mean, it's a brotherhood over there. All the guys are super close. I was just at a barbecue before I came here with all the players. It was a fun time. Came here enjoying this. Coach Gardinera, he's a great coach, but I believe he's an even better person. Like, he'll help you every step of the way. He's helping me out with recruiting a whole bunch. He's always been a bright spot in my life. And then Todd, Coach Durkin, he's worked with some of the top guys. He trains Drew Brees. I know Zach Wilson's trained with him too. He's really special to me because I get to work with a guy who not only trains big-time NFL players, but will train anyone from the high school to collegiate level that has big opportunities in life. And then Well, actually, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys know him. His name's Danny Hernandez.
Yep, I know
He's
Danny.
another one of my quarterback coaches.
Yep.
He's really helped me through the recruiting process. I've gone to him a couple times. He's a really great guy, super good motivator, and I like working with him a whole bunch too.
Cool. Any
Jax.
other questions for the young man?
No, I think we're good, man.
And for anybody who didn't see his PPR interview, they call him Jax because
Of Jacksonville.
Yes.
Jacksonville Jaguars. My
he
parents
actually is
watched the
named after
game.
JAX.
Yep, parents watched the game. My dad works for the Chargers, so my mom was watching the game with my dad, and they saw CHA versus JAX on the screen, and they were like, Jax, at that time, it wasn't that common. It's picking up pace right now.
Right.
I see a lot of babies being named Jax, but not a lot of people my age, and they thought that was super cool. I love that my name's Jax. It's very unique. It's like, I'd say I'm a unique person, and I think it suits me very well.
So I'll say this.
it's a
You're a great
perfect name for football, man.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I don't know. See, I'm a baseball guy. So Jax Leatherwood is the perfect right-handed
is.
pitcher.
I
mean,
I
it
used
is.
to be
It
a
really
pitcher.
is, right?
I used to be.
It's a good baseball. It's a good sports name.
It's a good sports
athlete
name. Jax, it was nice meeting you.
Nice
Thank you
meeting
for your
you.
time.
Nice to meet you
Appreciate
guys.
Good
you
rest
coming
of
in
the
tonight.
year. I'm sure I'll see you around the community.
Yep.
Yep.
Now
Thanks
you
for
live
having me
here, so
on.
you'll see this guy.
That's right. Oh, I didn't
Thank
bring
all
my my booster card. I paid for a Scripps Ranch High School booster.
Who'd you buy
card.
it from?
I don't know. So
You don't know who you bought your booster
He had a
from?
mask on. He came to my door. I had no idea what the game. So
Coach
We don't know.
Gardinera,
I
here's
coach-
a challenge
I-
to you. Find out who he bought it from and let us know.
I told the kid to tell Coach Gardinera that the Surprenants say hi. But I live in Scripps Ranch. I've lived here my whole life. Obviously, I went to Cathedral, which Marlon hates. I coach at Cathedral now, but
Which Marlon
I get
hates.
home from film on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I got all my Cathedral stuff on.
Right.
And my brother, who also coaches at Cathedral, he's got all his Cathedral stuff on. We get a knock on the door. My dad just sat down, so like typical, it's like, oh, who the heck is knocking on my door right now?
On a Saturday
And I was
after
like,
film.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Yeah.
I get up, I answer the door, and there's this Scripps Ranch High School football player. He's got his mask on. He's being safe, and he sees me wearing all Cathedral stuff, and his mom is like, oh no. And the kid is like ready to do his speech. He doesn't even realize what he's about to do. And I read the room fast, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're a bunch of Cathedral coaches. What do you got? And the kid was like, can you, like, we're selling
Did
these.
you
I'm like,
slide him some money?
I was like, how much? He's like, $20 for like their booster card. I'm like, here's a 20. I'll take one.
All right, cool.
Gotta support the
you
local
took the
program.
card.
He gave me the card.
You took the card?
He wasn't gonna not let me have the
Don't
card.
take the card, man. Give him the money. You're in the industry. You're a coach. You can't take the
I
card.
helped support the program. I haven't
you
used
give
it
him
yet.
the money, but you don't take the card.
Why not?
Cheap
He
guy.
gave me the card.
All right, what do
He
we
gave
got?
it to me anyway.
What do we got?
We got
Bring in another
Jalen
guy.
Shaw coming in.
All right.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
We got Jalen Shaw, the Scripps Ranch high school football team, Scripps Ranch Falcons. You got a lot of praise from Coach Gardinera, obviously. Your brother played for Scripps too.
Yeah.
He's talking about your speed, talking about your athleticism, but let's talk about Coach Gardinera and the Scripps Ranch football team. What do you like most about playing for Scripps and playing for Coach Gardinera?
It's definitely the brotherhood. I mean, I have a personal connection with everybody on the team, including the coaches. We've got some real smart coaches, real football minds, and we've got a lot of dogs on the team. It's a real special group. So,
You play offense, you play defense, both sides, scoring touchdowns on offense, lockdown corner on defense. If somebody said you only get to play one from here on out, which side of the ball are you playing? What do you like more?
That's a real tough one. I mean, running back is really fun. I like to score. I like to touch the ball, but DB, I mean, that's also fun. But if I had to choose, I'd probably go with defensive back.
All right, that's a good
a lot
choice.
more
Longer
options.
career
Yeah.
too.
That's a great
Longer
choice.
career.
As a defensive back coach, I love to hear that. But luckily for you in high school, you get to dabble in both.
Yeah.
You can go shine and show your skills in both.
All right, so I'm gonna ask a tough question.
Uh-oh.
Years ago, I went on social media when the LIVE8s were playing. I think Chris was just beginning his junior year, okay? And I said he's the best LIVE8 of all of them. And a lot of people got really mad, and you see where he is now, right?
Yeah.
I watched your brother play, and he's really good.
Yeah.
Who's the best Shaw brother and why?
I mean,
Now I'm putting you on the spot, so you know he's gonna watch this, so and you know Mom's here. So I gotta hear the answer to this. Real talk.
that is a tough question, but I'm not gonna say I'm not the best, but I'm not gonna say he's not the best, but I think I'm the best.
Who wins in a
honestly.
one-on-one matchup?
One-on-one? How many reps? That's the
Give
question.
me one rep to show me
One
what
rep?
you got.
Okay, no, I'll give you 10. You answer his one. You
10
answer my
reps.
10.
10 reps. All right, fine. 10
That gives
reps.
me 1 out of 10.
10 reps?
Yeah. Who wins the most? How many reps you win in 10?
I get 6, he gets 4.
Ooh, is that close?
Yep.
All right.
He's good.
It's like the
good.
Diggs
I
brothers.
can't lie.
Yeah.
The Diggs brothers. I
Right.
want to see that matchup. I want to see the Shaw brothers matchup as well. Let's talk about last game. Obviously, a big game. The week before, you got 2 picks against San Pasquale, and going into that game, Cal Preps had you guys as big underdogs. What was the mindset going into the game, and throughout the game? What was the message on the sideline when you guys were taking it to La Jolla and jumped out to that lead?
The mindset was just keep battling. We knew it was going to be a dogfight. I mean, they were ranked 7, 8 in the city, I'm pretty sure, and everybody was just sleeping on us. So as we kept fighting, we realized that we had it in the bag. I mean, by halftime we were up by 4, and then we pulled away 52-27 in the third quarter, and we kind of gave it up, but we got that last drive to really ice the game.
So in the fourth quarter, you see Jax and Stratton moving the ball downfield. They get a little closer. They get a little closer. What's going through your mind on that last drive where you're like, if we don't stop them, this is going to be history repeating itself?
On
As
that
a player,
last
what's going
drive,
through your mind?
I was thinking, do everything we can to stop them, but I knew that we were up 2 possessions, so if we did get the ball back, we really need to run that clock out and just try to do the best we can. Everybody was tired. We had players cramping. It was a long game. I think it was 3.5 hours. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we just kept thinking of the end goal and how good it would feel to really win that game.
I got a question. Would you rather, let's say you go to college, would you want to play with your brother on the same team? Or would you want to be like the Noahs, where one of them's a linebacker, one of them is a running back, and they play against each other?
I mean, I've always played with him, so I think I'd want to try playing against him.
Ooh,
Because
all right.
we've been on the same team pretty much growing up, so it'd be nice to compete against him for once.
I think that'd be good. That'd be good.
Who wins versus you and versus your brother?
Depends on the sport and what kind of shape I'm in.
And would your dad say the same thing if I asked him?
I don't know. It just depends on what we're doing. Like
Softball.
Softball. Well, we're 2 different players. Like I'm more of a base hit guy, and he's got way more pop than I do. So that's different. So it's,
Who
it's
wins in
just different.
softball, you and your brother?
Softball.
I'm going off the radar here. Let's go. Who wins in
mean,
softball?
I didn't really play softball.
I got a
but
better question.
Who wins in basketball?
No. hold on.
basketball? Me.
No. Better question that we were talking about last week. Who wins a spicy wing eating challenge, you or your brother?
Me.
Really?
Yeah,
beat him?
I like spice.
You like spice? You
Yeah.
don't like spice?
I mean,
Are you
I
calling
don't-
your brother soft on a podcast?
No, he's not soft. I'm just saying, I don't know if he get down like that. Like I do with
Don't
the
worry.
spice.
I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy.
He's soft. Favorite? Well, if you like spice, what's your favorite wing? Yeah.
Favorite wing?
Or what's your favorite spot in Scripps?
Spot and Scripps.
Food-wise. It's not a lot of spots. There's not a lot of
yeah.
spots out here.
In Scripps Ranch, I don't know. Probably Santana's, the Mexican place over there.
You mentioned
Yeah.
Amir Mason get some
Yeah.
canes and stuff.
Oh yeah, Canes, In and Out,
Canes,
all that.
everybody loves
Yeah.
Canes.
Patrons.
Right.
Was that the that was last week's.
That was Trey.
That was Trey's favorite.
Yep,
thing.
Trey loves
It
Canes.
was Canes.
It was Canes. Raising Canes. I was,
Let me ask you this about.
What's your final record of the season for the Falcons?
I honestly have us going undefeated. I mean,
You gotta have that mindset.
yeah.
You gotta have that
It's-
mindset.
Let
We-
the young man answer.
I'm just backing up what he's saying. You gotta have that mindset. Come on, you're gonna tell a team, yeah, Chris, we're gonna lose like 4 more games. Like,
You never know,
what do you
man.
think
You
he's
never
gonna
know.
ask? Let me ask
Some
you
guy
this.
might say that. I don't want him on my
Let me-
team, but some guy might say that.
Let me ask you this. It'll be the last thing we ask you. We're getting school back. We're getting kids back
Oh, yeah.
to doing more high school stuff for you. How was it like trying to get through that year last year, playing in the spring season, obviously with whatever you're able to do, and how's it like being able to see your friends again, hang out, go to school and kind of get back to a semblance of normalcy?
It's real nice. I mean, school really, it keeps me in check because I'm focused all the time, and seeing my friends, that's nice. My friends are really, really important to me, and just having them, it pushes me and I push them because they're on the team too, so it's really nice to have that again.
When you're not playing football, what are you doing with your friends?
Hanging out, chilling,
What are
playing
you
video
doing? Hanging out,
games.
playing video games.
Playing
or
video
game
games,
of
you
choice?
know.
Are you a Madden guy or NBA 2K guy?
Definitely Madden, but I play both. But I think Madden's a little better.
All right, my last question to you. How many times have you seen Jax hit his head on doorways?
I don't think I've seen it, but I might have heard it one time.
Yeah. You hear him walking that all thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I'll
Thank
see
you.
you around the community.
Yep.
All right.
Well, there you have
Jalen
it.
Shaw joining us on
Two
the
ballers.
show. We had a handful of guests today, so it kind of
Yeah.
pushed us back. Let's try to catch up here
Yeah.
on time.
By the way, I do want to take the caveat. I got a text in the mail that says I contradicted myself in my top 10.
You did.
I obviously
I
did.
called you
will
out
own
on it.
Listen, I'll own it. I didn't have my top 10 prepared this week. That's on me. I'll fix
That
it.
is on
I'll
you.
put out a top 10. And that won't contradict myself.
I'm gonna call you out on it. I'm a straight shooter. I'm
B, I
just
know
gonna
you
tell
will.
you
I
how
know
I
you
see
will.
it. So I had to call you out on that. Did
Well,
Calvin
you're the
call you
reason
out?
why we had to be here at 8:30.
It's not my
by
fault.
the way.
They kept throwing and throwing and throwing. This is
Get
their
some
deal.
defense, DB coach.
Hey, special teams
Stop
today.
somebody, DB
special
coach.
teams coordinator. We housed the kick return. I was happy.
But what was the final score? 54?
No, 49-6.
Oh, my bad. 49.
We played
Where's your defense?
Well, apparently,
Where's
I
your
didn't
defense?
know. Apparently, we played a varsity B team, which I didn't know was a thing. That's what he said.
You guys watching me?
Santa Ana, modern day. I don't see anybody else playing them. All right. We left off in the In Good Hands award. In good hands, Mason Powers of La Jolla, 7 receptions, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns. Charlie Gooding.
He has Mason Powers. You know that, right?
That's right.
Mason Powers.
Charlie Gooding, wide receiver, La Jolla Country Day, 8 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to take Gavin Marini from Central. 6 receptions. That's not right? That's a typo.
It's 136 yards.
136 yards. 1 tub.
Party in the End Zone award. Charlie Sullivan, 6 total touchdowns.
6?
Five total touchdowns. 5 total touchdowns.
5 tubs. Okay.
By the way, they changed it last week. We mentioned that Samuel Cooper IV had 6 touchdowns. I went on Max Preps this week, and they're like, oh, no, he only had 4. Padding his stats too much.
All right.
Padding
Well,
his stats too
since
much.
we're talking about UC, I'm going to take tackling machine of the week. I'm going to go defensive end, Caden Dawson from UC. 13 total tackles, 6 solo, and 1 tackle for loss.
Isaac Falave, Otay Ranch linebacker, 17 total tackles last week. Jacob Crane, linebacker for San Marcos, 11 total
Dude,
tackles.
Where are these linebackers coming up with these 17 tackle games this year?
None of them beat our boy last week, though.
Who do you have, 19?
Lemire Mason, Michael Vanta had 19 total tackles. 15 of them are solo tackles.
How good does this kid have to be to make 17 tackles in a game?
Sack Masters, we're going to go to the South Bay, Sweetwater High School. Javier Sanchez, defensive lineman, 2.5 sacks.
2.5 sacks.
Ball
Ball
Hawks.
Hawk. I'm going to go to my guy, Justin Stearns, linebacker out of St. Augustine. 2 picks last week's game.
Give some special love to Nick Dockery. Got a good pick last week, 1 total pick.
Big Nick!
Aside from Justin Stearns, only we had about 15 kids have 1 pick. Nobody had multi-picks last week,
Except for Stearns.
except for Stearns.
And by the way, he's a San Jose State commit.
Iron Leg Award. He did not beat James Wagonseller. So James Wagonseller's still the top dog when it comes to longest field goal.
Still the top dog.
It's Quentin Perez comes close. He had the longest field goal last week.
And where's he going to school?
Army Navy.
That's right.
Their
Army
second
Navy.
Army
There
Navy
you
shout
go.
out in 2 weeks.
Second one.
33-yard field goal. Let's get to our games of the week.
Oh, man.
I couldn't pick a better game than this game.
Yeah, no. This is one of the games of the year. Circle it on my calendar. Both teams are coming to their pinnacle at the same time. Drum roll. It is who?
Mission Hills at Lincoln.
What you got?
I got Lincoln.
What's the spread?
The spread's in favor of Mission Hills by 11. I got Lincoln straight out. Give them 11 points, give them 0 points. I'm taking the Hornets.
I'm taking the Hornets as well.
I think the Hornets win by 3 touchdowns.
By 21?
Yeah. That's how much off the spread I think is.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I think the Hornets win by 3.
I think that the final score is going to be 52-21.
52-21.
Yeah, 52-21 Lincoln.
We're both on the Hornets as underdogs. Poway Titans get the North County game of the week again. They're at Ramona. 1-1 Poway, 2-0 Ramona. Poway's favored by 6. Going up the mountain.
I'm going up the mountain. It's hard to play at home. I mean, it's easy to play at home. It's hard to win on the road. I'm taking Ramona Bulldogs in that running game. They're 2-0. I'm taking Ramona.
Ramona plus 6.
Yep. Come on, come on. Can Dylan Curry and the Poway Titans?
I got Poway. I like what they did last week in East Lake.
Okay.
East County game of the week, San Pasquale 1-1 at Valhalla 1-1. San Pasquale is favored by 21.
You got a coin? To me, this game's
I
a
don't.
coin flip. I don't know. San Pasqual, Valhalla, San Pasqual, Valhalla. I'm going to go with San Pasqual.
I'm taking San Pasqual with the points. Chula Vista Spartans haven't played a game yet, favored by 7 at the Hilltop Lancers, who are 0-2. There's not a lot of South games this week.
That's the South Bay game of the week you took?
Look, do you have a better one? They don't. I'm telling. There's no other.
Somebody has to win that game, right?
Yeah. Well, Chula Vista's favored by 7.
I'll take Chula Vista.
I'm taking Chula Vista. City game of the week: San Diego Cavers at the Scripps Ranch Falcons.
Look at that
Scripps Ranch
spread.
favored by 28.
Look at that spread.
I think Scripps
28?
Ranch wins, but I think Charles James and the Cavers cover. They run the ball. They're gonna run out the clock, man.
Man, that's hard.
They're
That's
gonna run out the
28.
clock.
Listen, I think Scripps wins the game.
I agree.
I don't think they cover the spread.
I agree with you. So we're both on the Cavers plus 28.
Well, hold on. They scored 52 last week.
They scored 52 against an offense that was throwing the ball. This is an offense that doesn't throw the ball. They run it.
what?
They run it.
Charles, you can call me in the morning. I'm taking the Falcons
To cover?
to cover.
We had 2 games tonight. Brawley Wildcats at the Indio Rojas.
I've never even heard that school.
You don't have to pick it. It's on the night. Holtville at Hoover is also tonight. Other notable games throughout the county. Lawndale's
taking
going to
Hoover in that game, by the way.
Carlsbad's favored by 14. I'll take the Lancers.
I'll take the Lancers as well.
Torrey Pines Falcons at Rancho Bernardo. They're favored by 28.
I'll take the Falcons.
I'll take the second game of the season. Last week got banged due to COVID. San Clemente Tritons at La Costa Canyon. San Clemente is favored by 24.
LCC, I want to go with you.
San Clemente beat Oceanside by 31.
Yeah, I'm going to take San Clemente.
I'm taking San Clemente. San Augustine at Santa Margarita. They're favored by 28.
Saints, I don't think he just has enough in the tank.
I got Santa Margarita cover. Vista Panther. Hey, we got a rivalry up there in Vista. Vista Panthers at Rancho Buena Vista. Vista's favored by 5. Give me the Panthers by 5.
I'm taking the Longhorns.
Really?
I'm going to go RBV.
They got Doc Roberts playing quarterback?
No. He's coaching the team up the road.
He's not playing tomorrow?
No.
They
He's
give me the
he's
Vista
He's
Panthers.
coaching a team that we hate up the road.
Chaminade Eagles favored by 13 at Cathedral Catholic. I got the Dons.
Am I picking this football or picking this by what I want?
Pick whatever you want. You picked them last week.
I'm taking Chaminade to cover.
Really?
After last week's poor showing against,
I think Cathedral wins.
Yeah, I don't.
I was more inclined to pick Centennial last week.
I think Centennial exposed some of the secondary for Cathedral. I think Cathedral has trouble with the passing game, and I think Chaminade is they're fast, they're physical, and they've got a lot of speed. And I don't know that Cathedral can stop all of it. The only hope they have is to put pressure on the quarterback. If they don't get D-line pressure, they are going to lose that game.
Cathedral's only got 1 loss in the Honor Bowl at home.
This may be number 2.
I don't think so. I think the Dons beat Chaminade. That is our game picks. He's Chris Smith. I'm Braden Surprenant. Another good show here on the High School Football Live Show. Thanks again to TSC Sports. Thanks again to J.R. Tolver for helping us out. And we're going to be on the road as much as we can. So the farther north we have to go, the better for me. And the farther south we have to go, the better for Chris at this point in time. But if you want us in your local community, let us know. We'll come out.
Reach out.
We'll set up the deal. We'll bring in your high school. And we'll showcase you on the High School Football Live Show.
You said it before, I'm going to say it again. Special shout out to J.R. Tolver, State Farm agent here in the Mira Mesa area. If you're looking for insurance, make sure you hit him up. Big
Mark
sponsor
and Frank
of our show.
Powell. Mark and Frank Powell. Big thanks to them at Real Estate
And Precipitate
Brothers.
Water, another one of our sponsors as well.
Yeah, we got to get all our sponsor reads out there. So big thanks to Calvin Pierce running the show behind the scenes. Thanks again to Public House 131. If you're in the Scripps Ranch area, come out, hang out. It's a good place to watch a football game and a good
Or any
place
sporting
to.
event for that matter.
They have the PPR on Friday night. It's a good place to
There
go
it
after a high
is.
school
Come out
football
here.
game.
Hey, Paul Rudy, maybe you never know. Send John Durant up here.
That's right.
Send John Durant up here for a Scripps Ranch dash and dine.
We'll talk to Marlon
Good idea.
Gardinera after the game.
Get him
And,
out here, you
Yeah,
know,
come out and
sponsor the
check out
community.
Public House 131.
There you
So
go.
big thanks to all our sponsors. Big thanks to Chris, Calvin. I'm Braden. We'll talk to you guys next week and enjoy the high school football games tomorrow night.